Looks like everyone's found their seats so far. My name is Joe Craig. I am the Director Emeritus of the UCCS Economic Forum. Thank you all for coming. So first off, I have a few quick announcements. The first announcement is that in your programs, both digitally and physical, there are QR codes for the question and answer portion of every session. There is a separate QR code for each different session, so make sure you're using the right one. Secondly, our Q&A session from our keynote speaker is going to be moderated by Brett Forrest of KOAA, and our economic outlook will be moderated by Maggie Bryan, also of KOAA. The small business session will be held here in the Shockley Zalabak Theater. The future of downtown and commercial real estate is going to be held in the Chapman Recital Hall, which is out here and to the right. We have two other quick program changes. Kia Palmer has been replaced by Aaron Groziak, the operations manager from Veterans Business and Outreach for the small business portion. And Bill Schrum for the future of downtown and commercial real estate was not available to come today. I'd also like to thank Minuteman Press. They are the ones that did the annual forum report printing. Some of you may have already picked that up on your way in. If you didn't, please grab one on the way out. It looks fantastic. Okay, and with that, we're going to bring up our Chancellor Jennifer Sobanet. I asked her what her favorite drink was, and she said there's nothing like the first sip of coffee in the morning. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to her.
Thank you, Joe. I want to thank you for your leadership, not only at UCCS and in LAS, but also for this forum. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the 28th Annual UCCS Economic Forum. It is such a joy to see so many of you here gathered to discuss and shape the economic future of Colorado Springs and beyond. This forum is a testament to the powerful and ongoing collaboration between UCCS and our vibrant community, to which we are so fortunate to belong. This event debuted in 1997 as the Southern Colorado Economic Outlook Forum, sparked by the vision of a local business leader, Ron Chernak of FBB Group, alongside UCCS College of Business faculty members Tom Zvorline and Jeff Ferguson. Today, the forum has grown into a central hub of data, insights, and discussions that fuel our region's economic progress. It truly is incredible to see how far we have come together. I personally love it when I can see campus and community partnerships working, and this one works so brilliantly, and it helps all of us thrive. We also, I want to mention, have some UCCS students in the room with us, and we are modeling for them how to make a campus and a community come together and to see how we are stronger together. I want to take a moment to thank the government, nonprofit, and media partners who make this forum possible year after year after year, as well as the over 30 local businesses who have also provided their support. In particular, I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to our Platinum partner and credit union, and our Gold partner, TBK Bank and Pikes Peak Workforce Center. It is because of their continued dedication that we are able to offer this valuable event to our community each year. Now, the Economic Forum is more than an annual event. Our director, Dr. Bill Craighead, works year-round to track, to analyze, and share the economic data that drives local business decisions and enhances our community awareness. Through the forum's weekly economic snapshot video series and his regular column in the Southern Colorado Business Forum and Digest, Dr. Craighead ensures that our region stays informed and prepared to navigate the evolving economic landscape of our region. At UCCS, we are committed to serving as a catalyst for growth and innovation in Southern Colorado. Through dynamic partnerships and local industry leaders and collaborations with our local businesses, UCCS is building the future right here in Colorado Springs and Southern Colorado. It is now my distinct honor to introduce a tremendous civic leader who embodies the spirit of service and entrepreneurship that drives our city forward. I want to introduce my friend, Mayor Yemi Mobilati. Yemi is not only the 42nd mayor of Colorado Springs, but is also an entrepreneur himself. His leadership is guiding our community through a truly exciting time of growth. And he also deeply cares about the well-being of us all. This evening, here at UCCS, we are holding our community gathering, an initiative that Mayor Yemi started, that we would have as a community 1,000 different gatherings across the community to build relationships. We here at UCCS have linked our community gathering to our homecoming weekend kickoff, and that is tonight. So I invite all of you after this lovely forum to join us. We have our neighborhood gathering starting at 6. We have a homecoming tailgate, then we have a soccer game, and then we have a bonfire. So if you want to spend the entire day and evening with us, please join us, and please join me in welcoming my dear friend, Mayor Yemi, to the stage.
Thank you, Chancellor Jennifer Sauvanet. My wife and I are big fans of your leadership, and I do look forward to being back here later today for the gathering and the celebration and homecoming. They had me at party. They said, Mayor, do you want to come out and party? I'm like, yes, I'm in. Yeah, sign me up. We've had about, for the 1,000 neighborhood gathering initiative, we're about 820. So we're getting close to achieving that goal. And thank you to all of you in the House that have participated in fighting for our community's well-being and creating a city of great neighbors and neighborhood. And thank you to the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs for hosting this important event, Go Mountain Lions, and to the UCCS Economic Forum Director, Dr. Bill Craighead, thank you for convening us today. And a warm welcome to all of you in the audience, including the distinguished experts you're going to be hearing from, community leaders, and esteemed guests who have joined us for this crucial conversation. For nearly 3 decades, the UCCS Economic Forum has been a cornerstone of our community's economic insight and development. Year after year, it provides valuable data, fosters collaboration, and helps us better understand the opportunities and the challenges that lie ahead. The UCCS Economic Forum serves as a guiding light, ensuring our city grows and that we remain thoughtful, innovative, and strategic in shaping the economic future of Colorado Springs. Our city has experienced tremendous growth in recent years. Last year, our economy grew by 8.5%, and that 8.5% represents about $4 billion. And over the last 5 years, we've seen our economy grow by 30%. We've seen new businesses come to Colorado Springs, a thriving innovation ecosystem, and our economy is diversified across sectors like aerospace, defense, technology, healthcare, and tourism. Since 2023, El Paso County and the city of Colorado Springs have led the state of Colorado in a number of state incentivized projects. We have approved a record 12 economic development agreements, resulting in an estimated 3,000 new jobs, 1,700 jobs retained, a projected $1.6 billion in new investment, and $125 million in projected new city revenue. Peak Innovation Park, a business park at the Colorado Springs Airport, is contributing greatly to this success. It is home to Amazon and a growing number of defense companies. Peak is estimated to add $1.9 billion to our local economy next year alone. And it's not just large corporations that are drawn to our city. We're also experiencing a remarkable surge in the number of small business activity. Our city departments are fielding a high volume of inquiries about starting new ventures. And my office is receiving a lot of requests for us to attend ribbon cuttings and groundbreakings, and this is a clear sign of the entrepreneurial spirit on the rise. But it's also important to remember that with growth comes responsibility. We must ensure that this economic expansion benefits everyone and not just a few. It's about creating opportunities that are accessible to all residents and building a city where prosperity is shared. Therefore, I hired a small business development administrator and established local business walks to hear directly from our local business owners. We also launched COS Business Navigator to support small businesses. This resource complements the business tools that we already have, to include Permit Partner, an easy way for business owners to navigate the complex permitting process, and COS Open for Biz, a step-by-step roadmap for those who are just getting started. Addressing workforce challenges is another key component of maintaining a strong local economy. Therefore, I hired a workforce administrator who is collaborating with business, schools, and economic development and workforce partners to identify gaps and catalyze change. And as we celebrate our economic progress and confront our enduring challenges, my team and I are also working to address our infrastructure needs. You see, a robust economy depends on strong infrastructure. This is why improving roads must be a top priority as we continue to grow. Our success in economic development is directly tied to our ability to provide the infrastructure that businesses and residents need to thrive. That is why this November, you and I have the opportunity to vote on the renewal of 2C Road Improvement Sales Tax Program. Before the 2C Road Improvement Program, for decades, we let our roads fall into great disrepair. 30+ years of deferred maintenance. Thanks to you, in 2015, we began to turn the tide, and we renewed it again in 2019, and since 2015, we have reduced the number of damage claims against the city by almost 80% and the number of pothole claims by 34%. We've also repaved about a quarter of our city's roadway. That's about 1,700 miles, but we still have about 5,000 miles to go as the largest geographic city in the state. Friends, good roads are a staple of a great city. They're what our firefighters drive on the way to a house fire. They're what our parents drive on the way to get their kids from school. They're what our workers and our workforce drive on the way to work. So without raising taxes, I ask that you join me and John Suthers in voting yes to renew the 2C Road Improvement Program for 10 more years. Thank you. Together, we will make Colorado Springs a safe, economically prosperous, culturally rich, welcoming, and vibrant world-class American city on a hill that shines brightly. Together, we are building a city of great neighbors and great neighborhoods. Together, we are Colorado Springs. Onward and upward. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Yemi.
That was great.
All right, so up next, we are going to be bringing out the state demographer for the state of Colorado. I love using that "the" term. For those of you that may not know me, I'm a huge fan of the Ohio State Buckeyes, and we love adding that little "the" to the front of it, so that made me very happy. I know, she's shaking her head at me already. At any rate, we're going to bring out Elizabeth Garner. Now, a fun fact about her is she is one of the 43% that are actually Colorado natives, born and bred, and also, if anyone can bring the sexy to demography, it's Elizabeth. So thank you so much.
All right. I do appreciate being invited to be at this event, but not sure we're going to deal with that same MC in the future. Thanks again so much for having me be here today to talk about kind of demographics and how important it is in this relationship to the economy that the mayor was talking about, as well as Jennifer was talking about. So I'm just clicking through here until I get to my slide deck. And maybe that was the wrong thing to do. Help? Oh, there we go. All right, so I see it there, and I see it there. Sweet. All right, so today my presentation is called Where Do We Grow From Here? And I put a question mark at the end of it because I think that there's a lot of uncertainty in terms of where that goes, what it looks like, and understanding what's going to be driving some of those trends, and certainly looking at where does Colorado Springs, El Paso County, Southern Colorado fit into the state picture that fits into the national picture. It's really important to understand some of the primary big challenges or big trends impacting the state. One of them being the fact that really population is growing at a slowing rate. Now, a lot of you might be saying, she's lying to me. I've seen the cranes. I understand the traffic. But the point is there are some fundamental shifts going on in the country where we're seeing a slowdown in births and an increase in deaths. And that's really putting some downward pressure on growth. Likewise, migration and mobility are slowing. Again, you might not believe me in it, but I'll show you pictures and I'll show you data. Really how things are starting to slow down, and a lot of it has to do, again, with these fundamentals of births, deaths, and then kind of the age of the net migration. But the point being is that it's harder and harder to attract the best and the brightest, and that's where I think Colorado Springs and El Paso County are actually in a really good location to be able to compete for the best and the brightest with the airport, with the university, with the health services. It is in a great location to really be able to thrive and be able to move forward. That being able to attract and retain labor force is really critical. The other fundamental to understand is that demand for jobs drives migration. And I'll get into this a lot. I mean, a lot of people are like, Elizabeth, I'm not sure if I like people. And I'm like, but they're pretty cool, right? And they're like, maybe not. And I'm like, but what do you think about jobs? And they're like, jobs are the best, right? So this love for jobs drives this demand for labor and demand for people. On top of that, we've got this retirement thing going on of the baby boomers and even post and pre-baby boomers retiring in record numbers, all driving demand for new labor. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, which is very much connected to age. Age impacts everything. It's my most favorite variable to ever talk about because we change by age. And the fastest growing age group in the state is our 65 plus. So it's important to understand, how does that change the economy? How does that impact our labor force? How can we plan to be an aging well community? So that is what I'm going to be talking about, as well as the fact within age is also this fast growth in terms of our diversity within our population at much younger age groups compared to our older age groups. So those aging into the labor force, aging into the consumer base, much more diverse than we've seen historically. So I don't necessarily expect you to see and be able to read all of the parts on the table, but I want you to know that the table and data exists, and that it's so important to make sure that whenever you're making policies or decisions or looking at things, that you understand the data and understand the source of the information that you're getting. But what you'll take away from this in the top in the table itself on the left-hand panel is the growth for the United States and Colorado over the last decade. We increased by 22 million people in the US as a whole, about 745,000 for the state, and we were in the top 10 in terms of that growth. It was a 14% growth rate over that time frame. But fundamentally, COVID changed things. We've seen over the last 3 years a fundamental shift, not only in the United States, which slowed down significantly in its growth, but also in Colorado. Colorado, where we were growing by about 75,000 people a year, our average for the last 3 years has been 30,000 relative to 75,000. This is a really fundamental shift for the state. And not only is it a difference in number, but also relative to other places. We are no longer in the top 10, now we're in the top 20 in terms of that growth. And we're seeing across the United States, several states declining in population. So again, if the mothership is slowing down, that is going to impact all of the states as well as all of the different counties within the country. On the left-hand map, you'll see the growth in Colorado over the last decade. Red, orange, yellow positive, shades of blue decline. On the right-hand side, again, change in Colorado over the last 3 years. Red, orange, yellow positive, shades of blue decline. On the left-hand side, you will see that all of the growth was really in the front range. 95% of the job growth and 95% of the population growth in the last decade was front range. On the right-hand map is the growth over the last 3 years, and again, you see a lot of concentrated growth in the front range, but we see declines in Denver, Boulder, Jeffco, in terms of total population. We also see declines in the mountain counties, Eagle, Summit, Pitkin, declines in those counties. People were saying all the time, oh, people are fleeing the cities because they don't have to be there anymore. They're all going to the mountains. And I was like, well, they might be visiting the mountains, but they certainly didn't move there because we're seeing declines in total population in terms of residents. So it's important to see how this shift is. You'll see El Paso County definitely stands out as a county that was growing at both time frames. But important to see that difference in terms of where we're starting to see declines, and that no longer the metro areas are the anchor. We're seeing other anchors throughout the state. When we're looking at population change, there's just 3 factors that we watch: births, deaths, and net migration. Births minus deaths is known as natural increase. It's represented by the blue component on this chart. This chart starts in 1970, and then you can see the red component, which is net migration, the ins minus the outs. And you can really see that business cycle. Anybody remember the glorious 80s in Colorado? Maybe you're too young out there to remember. But we had the savings and loan bust and the oil and gas bust. We had 5 years of net out migration. But it led to the boom in the 90s because we were really depressed in terms of prices. People looked at Colorado and they're like, ooh, pretty cool place, and they moved here. And you can see that. We had a total of 7 years of growth, over 100,000 during that time frame in the 90s into the early 2000s. The last year that we grew by over 100,000 in the state, 2001. Yeah, what do you hear from media all the time? And sorry, I can't see you all, but I don't know if media is out there. But what do they say? Everybody's flocking to the state. We see exponential growth. And if you remember your math classes, there is not an exponential line on here. So this is where, again, I would suggest we need to always look at the data and information to understand what is really going on and what is really driving things. One of the things that you'll also see on this is that the blue component, the natural increase, reached its peak in 2007. We will not see it ever at that level again, simply because of the slowdown in births and the increase in deaths. So we have some fundamentals that are putting this downward pressure on Colorado's growth. If we look at El Paso County, the same idea. The blue is natural increase, the red is net migration, starts in 1970, goes over time. And we can see that it follows a similar pattern, except it seems to kind of have a little bit more movement in its peaks and troughs. A lot of that has to do sometimes with building or the beginning of a new industry that might bring in people and then it slows down, brings in people and then it slows down. But fundamentally what you see from both places is this significant slowdown since 2015. So pre-COVID, starting to see this slowdown in growth in both Colorado as well as in El Paso County. And yes, we are seeing slower births in El Paso, but not like we're seeing in the rest of the state. Definitely a slowdown, but not like we've seen in other areas. And actually the peak birth was in 2017, not 2007 that we saw in the rest of the state. So El Paso County is a little bit younger, and has more kids. And that's important to be thinking about in terms of long-term shifts. But you will see the line, the red line is the deaths in El Paso County, and that is increasing. You can see the spike from COVID, and then you can see where it gets back on trajectory, and you will continue to see that, simply because we've got more people in age groups with higher death rates. But it's important to look at those components, because when you just look at total growth was 3,500, it's important to know what drove it. Was it migration? Was it births? Was it deaths? To understand what is really pushing change within a community. But we do know that that slowdown in births is going to be significant, and it's going to be long-term. 2007, again, in the country and in Colorado, was our peak birth. In the country, we're down 650,000 fewer births per year than in our peak in 2007. In Colorado, we're down about 8,000 fewer births per year. In El Paso County, down a couple hundred births per year compared to its peak in 2017. Long run, what has this created? Well, if we look at the map of the United States, red, orange, peach positive, shades of blue are the states that had a decline in the under 18 population over the last decade. We had a 1 million person decline in the country for our population under the age of 18. That means right now there are fewer folks under 18 than there were a decade ago. That has long-run implications to higher ed, K-12, labor force. California, Midwest, Northeast, all of those blue-colored states are the largest donor states to Colorado's higher ed system, paying out-of-state tuition and funding our higher ed. Ruh-roh. California, Midwest, Northeast are the largest donor states to Colorado's labor force. So this is serious. We need to be thinking about competition for the best and the brightest. And I know a lot of you, be honest, are thinking to yourself, really, do we want people? I'm hoping to convince you that there's benefits and drawbacks, right? You probably are already aware of the drawbacks. I'm going to try and convince you of some of the benefits of people. But it's important to understand how this will have a fundamental shift, because Colorado has never had to compete. Why? Right? You just open your front door. And unfortunately for you guys, you're even prettier than average. Right? I mean, you're so close to the mountains. You bring it up on a beautiful day and a beautiful highway day. Coming down here, it is truly spectacular. Other places don't have that. And we're having to compete for the best and the brightest. And I will let you know that other schools in other states compete stronger for the best and the brightest. They offer a better tuition to out-of-state, because they know if they get you in a seat, they've got a chance of keeping you in their labor force. Other states are offering down payment assistance. Other states are just going to pay you to move. We don't do that. And we've never done that. We may do that. But it's something to be thinking about, competing for the best and the brightest in the future. And the map on the right-hand side is the state, red, orange, yellow positive, shades of blue decline in the under 18 population over the last decade. 43 of the 64 counties had a total decline in that under 18 population. It doesn't matter where you were. Eastern Plains, San Luis Valley, Western Slope, Denver Metro, declines in that under 18 population. So not only will El Paso County need to be thinking about where will they attract their best and brightest from, but will other counties in Colorado be trying to steal your best and the brightest? So it's not only about attraction, it's also the idea of retention. Woohoo! We went fast. So I've talked about births and deaths. Let's talk about migration. Who do we typically attract? We attract youngins. Colorado is that orange line on this. We attract 20 to 40-year-olds. That's our best, that's like our bread and butter. This is what we have typically attracted for decades. Since you go back to the 80s and the 70s, we attract 20 to 40-year-olds. Typically young adults, families, university students. You can see the line for the older adults. We don't really attract older adults. We've got about a net zero. We're not like Arizona, that's the blue line. They've got, they attract the older adults. And then we've got, oh, look at poor little baby California. Look at that little pretty line. They also attract youngins, but look how little that is. This is in rates per 100. They experience a net out migration from California. And yes, we leverage that. And I know what you're going to say. Do you really want them? I'm going to say this. It doesn't really matter where they're from, right? I'm a pro people. Who does El Paso County typically attract? Well, actually, the super young. You're really focused in that 20-something. A lot of that has to do with military, the universities, but this has also been a place where families could start out and where families have been, and you've got a strong economy. But important to see that also very close to net zero for that older adult population. But important to understand what's driving change to the county. Now, this is hyper-focused really at that 20 to 30-year-old. What did I say we're going to start to see a shortage of soon? 20 to 30-year-olds. Our peak person is 17 years old. In just a couple of years, we'll start to see that slow down in that age group that you typically migrate here to fill jobs and drive your economy. I think it's also interesting to see what part of that net migration we've seen recently. We get some data from the Census Bureau regarding age in terms of net migration. This is the last 3 years. The orange component is at a large age group. It's 18 to 64-year-olds. The light yellowish color is the international population. The darker blue color is the population under 18, and the grayish color is the population 65 plus. What we've been seeing recently from El Paso County is a decline in the kiddos, an outmigration of kiddos. Now I'm going to say they typically don't leave by themselves. Typically they bring mom and dad. So we know that that orange component would have been bigger because these blue guys are going to take their orange folks with them. But we're also seeing an outmigration of the older adults. And that is slightly unusual. We haven't really seen that historically for El Paso County, that we're starting to see this net out. So something to keep an eye on and think about, and it makes a lot of sense for a lot of people. They'll leverage their price point in terms of homes, sell them and move to a lower cost area, potentially a state that doesn't have income tax or might have additional benefits. So it's not unusual, but it is new to see, especially for El Paso County and, for the state as a whole. But why do we typically migrate people? As I said earlier, there's a very strong correlation with job growth. Blue bars are job growth, red line is net migration. When we see stronger job growth, we see stronger net migration. When we see weaker job growth, we see weaker net migration. And I say that out loud in English, and you're like, yeah, no, that's totally reasonable. Is it though? What do you typically hear? Nah, maybe not a fan of people? Or maybe not a fan of housing? But let's be perfectly clear, a job is a person, and a housing unit is where that job sleeps at night. So they must be talked about together. We cannot talk about them in isolation. Net migration numbers are kind of slow to get. So what is another variable that we keep an eye on? We keep an eye on Colorado's relative unemployment rate. And this is a graph that kind of shows how that relative unemployment rate, so relative to other states and net migration. And it makes a lot of sense. When we've got a high unemployment rate relative to other states, we get lower migration. When we've got a really low unemployment rate relative to other states, we get more net migration. Again, that makes a lot of sense, but at least that data comes out monthly. So we can get an idea. And where are we stacking up? We're stacking about right in the middle. Right around 24, 25 is where we're ranking. And so we're thinking that we're going to not be as strong in net migration relative to other states that we've seen historically. So you see this thing on here, the economy, and I swear, Bill, I'm not going to talk about it. It's his job to talk about it later. But there is no way you can separate jobs and the population, as I've said several times. And it's something that we follow all of the time. What is driving jobs? Are we recovering? What kinds of jobs are we growing? Are they strong in certain areas of the state? Where are we in terms of relative unemployment? And Colorado is actually doing okay. We're not number 1, but we're not number 50. We're kind of right in the middle, maybe a little bit better than middle. And that's all I'm going to say, I promise, Bill. You get to talk about the rest of the economy later. But it's important to understand that we use that job growth to drive migration and population growth to the state and to start thinking about retirement. Again, our fastest growing age group is our 65 plus, and fastest growth in leavers from the labor force. So in the job front, not only are we seeing demand for workers from job growth, we're also seeing demand for workers because of retirements. Those two pieces together are doing a whammy really on our demand for labor and why it remains so tight. Commuting is also super important to be thinking about. I remember some of my first meetings 20 years ago with El Paso County, and they're like, oh no, your numbers have got to be off. You know, you've got way too many jobs relative to our labor force. And I'm like, what makes you think that they're not driving in from other counties? And they're like, what? We're in a region. You've got this thing called I-25. And painfully, it may be, we know that there is a ton of commuting along the Front Range. But actually, El Paso County does relatively well. About 75% of all of the jobs are filled by residents of El Paso County. On the map where you can see all of those dots, those are where people come from to fill jobs in El Paso County. In the picture of the circles, the big dark green circle are the jobs in El Paso. The light green circle are all of the workers in El Paso. So it's interesting to see that actually for a large metro county in the Front Range, you really are connecting with a lot of your labor force within the community. But let's talk about age real quick. Why is age so important? Well, any of you that are business folks out there know that this is marketing 101. You need to understand who your market is because people's preferences change by age. Whether you're 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, your preferences and where you spend your dollars change. And I will tell you, I've got some 20-year-olds at home. Well, they're not at my home. They're launched, yay. But I'm going to tell you their preferences for beverages that he was asking about are different than mine. I like water and coffee. They don't. I sometimes hope their preferences change. But it's important to know how many 20, 40, 60, 80-year-olds you have. Because not only does it impact the consumer base, it also impacts housing, the labor force, how much money they make, and what kind of service demands there are. So this is Colorado's age distribution broken down by single year of age. The different colors are the different generations. Each bar is a different age group. We can see a couple of things. We can see the slowdown in kiddos, right? On that far left-hand side, fewer 0, then 10, then 20. On the far right-hand side, you can see the black line at 65 and the number of people aging into the 65 plus. This decade, we are forecasting 40,000 retirements a year. 40,000 a year from the labor force. 400,000 over the decade. That has an impact to the labor force. You can also see our peak person is right there, 29, 30, 31. Those are the tail end of the millennials aging into what? Prime home buying, very productive in the labor force, potentially having kids. So we do have a slight chance of seeing that curve turn around for births simply because we're going to have more people in an age group that we're starting to see higher birth rates. Sensitive, sensitive, sensitive. All right, but what are we forecasting over this next decade in terms of growth? Well, we're forecasting about 600,000 in growth for the whole state. But if we look by year, we see a decline in the under 18. Very little growth in the 18 to 24. Some growth in the 25 to 44 only if there's migration. Very little growth in the 45 to 64 simply because they don't move a lot. But over 50% of the growth that we're forecasting for the state is in the 65 plus. Now, all the time people say, oh my God, where are they coming from? I'm like, no, friends. Look in a mirror. They are you. Which is a benefit, right? Because a lot of times right after where they're coming from, they ask, oh my God, how are we going to house them all? I'm like, no, they're in a house, right? But their preferences might change, right? What they want, what they need, where they are might change, and how they participate in the labor force. Right? I'll use myself as an example. I'm in a home. We used to be a family of 4. Now we're a family of 2. My husband retired 2 years ago. Now we only have 1 worker in this home. And I know you're going to laugh at me, but I love Denver. I'm a Denverite. I'm totally in love. I'm not going to leave. And if all goes well, end of this year, I'm retiring. I know. Pretty, applause, no. But the point is that same house that used to supply service to 4 people now is 2 and now 0 workers. And that is happening to 40,000 people a year. So this is the impact also in El Paso County, where people are like, oh, really, do we need all this housing? And I'm like, all right, you're not different than the rest of us. We're all aging in place. People are leaving the home. We're retiring. And so thinking about that impact. People then also ask all of the time, God, Elizabeth, do we really need people? So I wanted to make a chart because charts are fun. If we had 0 net migration, what would happen to our population over the decade? We would have declines in every single age group under the age of 45. A little bit of growth in that 45 to 64 simply because that age group doesn't move. All of our growth would be in the 65 plus. So we would have a total decline in our labor force if we had 0 net migration over this next decade. Hopefully, I'm starting to convince you a little bit the value of a person. This is El Paso County. You don't look that different from the state as a whole. You see that little spike in the dark blue. That's your kind of your student population. But otherwise, the same idea. You see the slowdown in the young. You see the black line at 65, people aging into the 65 plus. You will experience the same challenges as the state as a whole. Man, what are we forecasting over this decade? Well, you are seeing continued growth in your under 18 because you are one of the younger counties. You are still experiencing some births. So a little bit of growth in the under 18, very little growth in the 18 to 24, some growth in that 25 to 44, but only if migration is allowed. No growth really in the 45 to 64 and significant growth again in that 65 plus. So you're not immune from that continued demand and need. We can take that and we can look at the state and we can look on the left-hand side is the change in the school-age population over the decade. Red, orange, yellow, positive, shades of blue decline. It doesn't matter where you are. We are seeing this decline in that under 18 population. Other schools are going to be closing down districts or other districts are going to be closing down schools. But El Paso County, doing pretty well. Weld County, doing pretty well on that under 18. So also note to self, and I hate to talk about competition and stealing people, but I tell people all the time, if you're looking for a labor force, make nice with Weld County and El Paso County, because they've got kids. Now, I'm sorry, I tell people that, but that's where the kids are. So when people are looking at competing for the best and the brightest, they will be looking here. So the question is, can you attract and or retain? On the right-hand side is then the map looking at the change in the working age population. We also have a change in race and ethnicity by age. If we look at our under 18, this is the same idea, the graph, total population, single year of age. The dark blue at the very bottom is our white non-Hispanic population. If you look at our 65 plus in terms of age along the horizontal axis, you can see about 16% of our population over the age of 65 are people of color. If you look at our population under the age of 20, it's about 40% of our population are people of color. So that growing labor force, growing consumer base, growing base for housing is going to be much more diverse than we have seen historically. Tons of implications from age and aging that I've already talked about, but also in terms of the way it impacts housing, which I also gave you my own personal story. There's a lot of discussions. We could spend the whole day talking about housing. What I'm hoping that you guys come away with is the fact that we need to look at both demand for housing as well as that supply for housing in terms of bringing things together. Gosh. We know that we had a challenge building during the Great Recession. We lost hundreds of firms. We lost hundreds of employees. This is looking at building permits over time since from 1990 through 2023. You can see the trough during the Great Recession. We were building about 40,000 units a year, and then we went to about 10. So we got behind for about 10 years in terms of building. So a lot of times you might be saying, why are all of these cranes here? Well, we're making up for 10 years of undersupply. And that undersupply, we can also then put next to population growth. Orange bar is population growth, a blue line is housing. And we can see where we had oversupply, undersupply, oversupply, undersupply. I would hate to be in that industry, right? Talk about work to be done is how do we do that better? But we're getting back to a level of construction that is mirroring better population growth. But that does not make up for the damage that's already been done. The one blue line is our home price appreciation index in Colorado as a whole. The red line is household income. This is hard. It's not going to be solved overnight. It's not even maybe over the decade. It might take a generation to make an impact to where we get the price points closer to household income. And I will tell you, a lot of times people say, oh, you know what we need? We need home prices to fall by like 30%. And I was like, say that again out loud. And think about what that means. During the Great Recession, home prices fell by what, 6%? And that was devastating? Imagine 30%. So let's not hope for that one. But let's think about solutions, which I think it's going to take a gamut of solutions to try and figure this price point household income piece out. So just to tie things up, when we forecast Colorado's population, and I will tell you, we do get calls from folks in El Paso County that call our office and say, stop it. And I was like, hey, be easy. I'm like, what is it? And they're like, I don't like your numbers. I'm like, all right, let's talk about it. And I go through, we do a job demand, labor supply. We look at the jobs in the country, in the state, in the county, and how they're growing. We look at your concentration, right, in IT, health, technology, military, and how it's growing nationally, and fit you in there. Then we look at the population. We take you, apply birth and death rates, and that's our supply of people. If you don't like our supply of people, then maybe you need to be looking at your jobs. And is that inappropriate to bring up at an economic forum? 100%, right? But this is what we need to be thinking about. How do we talk about this constructively together? Gosh darn it. Lots of factors to be thinking about, right? What's going on nationally? What's going on in the state? We know that things are slowing down. The question is, can Colorado compete for the best and the brightest? Can we do it? And age. We've got the 6th youngest state in the country, meaning we don't have a lot of old people, but we've got a lot of people aging out of the labor force. And that will have a huge impact on our ability to fill positions. We're growing twice as fast as the country as a whole. Colorado is the blue bar, US is the red line, but growing at a slowing rate out into the future. So everything is slowing down, except for my finger. When we're seeing the growth in the state, we are forecasting still an increase of about 1.7 million people from 2020 to 2050. And you might be thinking to yourself, I thought you said it was slowing down. Well, 1.7 is less than 2.4, which is what we did the previous 30 years. And over 50% of the growth this decade, or through 2050, will be in our population 65 plus. So we will just all look very different. Stay out of the sun, wear your sunscreen. You'll look great. But it's important to also know in El Paso County, what we're forecasting out is this chart here. And the blue is the births, the gray is the net migration, and the red are deaths. That by far still, even though it's slowing, the largest component of your population growth are kids. And it's really wrong to complain about babies. 1.7 million, most of it along the Front Range. All of the shades of blue are areas that we're forecasting declines. Maybe. Tons of uncertainties in this forecast. Migration, water, housing, across the board. There's a lot of uncertainties. But hopefully this information gives you a little bit better idea about how we think about doing population forecasts, where population fits into the big picture, and most importantly for this event, how does population fit into the economic future of this southern Colorado region. With that, I want to thank you so much for paying attention and inviting me to be with you guys today. I don't know where I'm supposed to be. Oh,
I'm right here.
I was.
Okay, we are tight on time, so we're probably just going to do one question, if that's all right, before we take a quick break and then you get to your panel session. So in terms of El Paso County specifically, and I guess let me introduce myself first. I'm Brett Forrest with KOAA. In terms of El Paso County specifically, what demands or needs you see with child care and elder care with the population trends you predicted moving forward?
So hands down, demand on both ends. And that makes it hard, right? Because you're looking at how do you provide all of these services to a diverse population. Certainly on the child care, it's been needed hands down across the board, and it allows people to work, allows families to have families when they want families. So there's going to be a continual need for that, but I think we need to be strategic in locations. There's going to be some parts of the county that we're going to see a slowdown in kiddos, in other areas where we're going to see an increase in kiddos. So still, childcare is going to be critical. I can't talk enough about the older adult care. This is such a fundamental shift. Our fastest growth, again, is in that 65 plus, but the primary growth this decade is in the 75 to 84. Next decade, it's 85 plus. I'm dealing with a bunch of 85-year-olds at home right now, and I have to take off several days a month to provide care. And I'm lucky I split it with my brother. And so I'm just one person. Imagine all of the thousands of families that this is happening to. So support at the hospital, support with care, across the board, I think that looking at that healthy aging and aging strategies for communities is going to be critical.
All right, well, thank you, Elizabeth Garner, State Demographer, and hopefully if all goes well, you retire end of this year, but let's give her a round of applause. And unfortunately, that is all the time we have for the Q&A, so we're going to take the quick break, and then about 2:15, I believe, you'll hear some announcements is when we have our next sessions. Thank you all.